We're moving into our last project of the semester, and that means we're starting off with ethnographic writing. This is going to be a quick video lecture about ethnographic writing as kind of an overview of the written genre. So what is ethnography? Ethnography can be broken down into two parts, ethno and graph. So at the very basic level, we're just writing about people. That's all we're doing. Like a seismograph writes about forces in the earth, we are writing about people. Specifically, we're talking about cultures of people. We look at a group of people and say, they have an identifiable culture all of their own that is different than the culture of everyone else around them. As a written genre, ethnography might look more like a traditional essay than, say, a personal essay does, or maybe even a profile. But there are some specific conventions for this written genre. As we already said, this is the study of a certain culture or subculture of people. We are trying to find an interesting group of people to talk about, and we are trying to specifically analyze their behavior. Typically, this is written in third-person perspective only because you are writing for other researchers. You're not necessarily writing for your instructor. You're not necessarily writing for your classmates. You are writing as a researcher for other ethnographic researchers. So we want to be as formal as possible. This writing style blends several different kinds of research, qualitative, quantitative, primary, secondary, and that means that you will need to do interviews with the people from the subculture you have chosen. There are 4 places that are going to help you narrow the field of your research and give you a bit more of a focus to actually approach this subculture of people. First, we have artifacts. What objects of importance do these people hold? Second, we have language. How does this subculture speak to one another? How do they speak to other people? Do they use a specialized language? Third, we have rituals. So we might think of this as what are some common practices that these people do all the time with other members of the group. And finally, values and beliefs. Looking at the behaviors of this group of people, what does it seem like they value? There are 2 big questions when it comes to ethnographic research. First, what do we observe? We can watch this subculture all day, every day, for the next 10 years, and we can figure out what they do. How do they speak to one another? What objects do they hold as important? What rituals do they perform? Anybody could do this, though, not necessarily just us doing ethnographic research. So a lot of students get this far and then they say, yep, I did it, it's ethnography, but we need to take things a step further. And that brings us to our next question. What behaviors do we observe from these people, and what does that behavior mean? So now it's up to you, the researcher, to do your observations. Figure out the observations from that group of people, and then put your spin on it and analyze this. Well, I observe this action from the people in this subculture, and here is what it means. It shows us that they value this trait. These people all have this artifact, and this is why it's important to them. Because it speaks to their values, it speaks to their beliefs, it's part of their rituals. So, what do we observe, and what does that behavior mean? The bigger emphasis, I would say, is on that second question, because we need to take things a step further.